it's time for a tip-isode with quick tips you should know. Techniques you can implement into your workflow right here on A Tale, oh yeah, A Tale of Two Hygienists.
Listeners, welcome into this tip-isode. I'm so excited. We have Alice today. Alice, I am just completely thrilled to have you on the show. And thank you, by the way, for sending me a sample of the straw. My wife used it, and I could really feel that airflow coming through, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. Listeners, don't jump ahead. But Alice, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, first of all, I think it's customary, I think, in podcasting in general, just to do a little bit of who is the person behind the product, right? Who is Alice? And so, if you don't mind giving us a little bit of background about like who you are, where you're coming from.
Sure. So, I actually have a couple decades long career as a documentary filmmaker. I am a very second stage career inventing a product. And basically, when you interview people, you want to make sure that they feel comfortable on camera. And my number one tool for that was always my smile. When I was interviewing, I always made a point of really smiling broadly and just kind of communicating to whoever I was interviewing that they're doing a great job. So my smile really meant a lot to me. And so when my dentist suggested to me that my teeth would be a lot whiter if I switched to iced coffee, I said, why is that? I mean, I thought it was about the temperature of the coffee. Yeah. And he said, well, you can drink iced coffee through a straw. And if you drink through a straw, you prevent staining your teeth. And at the time, I just said, oh, I can't wake up in the morning to the smell of iced coffee. It's just not going to work for me. But I just started wondering, why is it? Why is it that I have this nice hot cup of coffee that I'm enjoying drinking, and as soon as I put a straw in it, I scald myself?
Yeah.
So I just got curious about that. And that led me ultimately to inventing the Sipify. But the first thing I learned was that when we're drinking hot coffee or tea the traditional way, we're sipping from the top of the cup, and that's getting cooled by contact with the room temperature air. So I thought, well, wow, what if I could just replace that room temperature air so that when you sip from a straw where you're pulling from the bottom of the cup where it's hottest, you would be able to comfortably sip your warm drink without scalding, because my goal was a hot sip. I wanted my coffee hot and my smile bright.
The best of both worlds. You wanted it all.
I wanted it all, exactly. And I also drink quite a bit of tea. I have coffee in the morning and then tea throughout the day. So I literally started at my kitchen counter with a plastic straw and a thumbtack. And then I ultimately hired a mechanical engineer and developed the product and et cetera, et cetera. And so now I've launched Sipify into the world, and it totally works. It cools just enough so that you can enjoy coffee or tea at the temperature that you like, and the liquid bypasses the front of your teeth. But it was really important to me that Sipify have a give back element to the business. And I also really wanted to donate Sipifys, not money, because I see that all the time. Like we don't donate money to this cause or that cause, but I really wanted to donate product. So I was trying to think of a population that would be appropriate. And I have a neighbor who has Parkinson's, and I know he has to drink everything from straws. And so I said, John, like, what about coffee? Are you just drinking like lukewarm coffee? And he said, well, yeah. So I reached out to a Parkinson's organization, and they got it immediately, and they thought it was a great idea. And so I didn't even have the finished product yet. I had these prototypes, and they connected me with some patients. And the patients who tried it all said, oh, yes, this is nice. I can drink coffee hot like I used to. But they all noticed something much more important right away. And that is the design of the Sipify lets them control the amount of liquid that they get per sip. And for patients living with Parkinson's, that meant that they believe using the Sipify is going to lessen their chances of aspirating.
Wow.
which is really huge and a surprise to me and so meaningful to me. My mother had multiple sclerosis and she had swallowing issues. It was of a different sort. I don't think the Sipify would have helped her, but I do know what it's like to struggle with swallowing. So I'm just so blown away by this. So then I started giving away Sipifys to every speech and language pathologist I could find to write to and say, hey, I have this innovative straw and I think it would help with dysphagia. And can I send you one? And all of them confirmed it. Because as typical swallowers, they could immediately just put a Sipify in a glass of water and tell me exactly why it's so helpful for this population. So the Sipify is meant for hot sips, right? So it's less volume right away, right? When you have a regular cylindrical straw, and the Sipify is a flat straw, and that was because I wanted it to easily fit through the sip hole of a to-go lid.
Oh, smart.
That's why I did that. So no matter where you're buying your coffee, there's a kind of standardized sip hole to those lids, and the Sipify fits in that. And it also means that it fits into almost every travel mug as well. But for the population with swallowing issues, what that means is there's just less volume per sip than a cylindrical straw. And so when they use regular straws, they get this jolt of liquid, right? And if you have tremors and you have swallowing difficulties, that can really be dangerous. So the Sipify has not only less volume, but because I also wanted you to be able to vary the amount of aeration, when you squeeze the silicone cover, you can lessen or in fact shut off the aeration. So that silicone cover really allows them to finally control both the velocity and the volume of the sip.
So I was just going to say, just real quick for listeners, and it's an easy control thing. It's not a difficult pinch. It's not a hard thing to adjust that volume, I noticed.
Right. Yes, because remember, we're talking about the vast majority of people who have Parkinson's are in an older demographic. And even with their grip strength, they're able to modify this. Mm-hmm. The other thing I found when I was doing focus group testing, which really surprised me for your audience, I don't think they'll be surprised, but I found that some people put a straw in front of their teeth when they sip. So, of course, if you do that, you're not going to get any of the initial benefit for which I invented the Sipify. So when we designed that silicone cover, we very intentionally wanted it to have a comfortable mouthfeel if you had it behind your teeth. So it turns out that design of the cover helps people with dysphagia for two reasons. One is swallowing experts have told me, the speech and language pathologists, that one of the things that they train people with swallowing issues to do is to take a sip of liquid and just bring it to the very front of their mouth and then only transfer it to the back and swallow when they are ready. And so the Sipify does that. It kind of delivers the liquid right behind the front of the teeth. So they said it's very helpful and therapeutic for that reason. And they also have some patients who need to strengthen their tongue mobility. And there's something about the design of the silicone cover that also helps with that. So the speech and language pathologists are really jazzed about it. And I'm in the works of finding someone who wants to do an actual clinical trial.
Wow. Well, I love that you do the science behind this. We have an episode coming up that I think you're going to really love if you want to listen to that episode as well. But it's about sleep and it's about tongue posture and it's about airway and all of these things that you're talking about. And I think our audience really connects with a product and someone who takes science into account. We have people that are real human beings that need real products that are really going to help them. And if you don't have the science to back it up, then it's not so much credible.
So I wanted to pick up more on my journey when I discovered this other surprise benefit to Sipify. So I reached out to the Michael J. Fox Foundation because they really are the preeminent foundation searching for a cure. And I basically just kind of cold emailed them and said, hey, you know, I developed this product that helps people keep their teeth shiny white, but it turns out there's this other benefit. And they were super excited about it. And so I got to play a small part, but I was part of a fundraising event they recently had earlier this month that raised over $545,000.
Wow.
It's also called Team Fox, the Michael J. Fox Foundation. And I donated over 200 Sipifys to be put in goodie bags at this event. So I just got to say that feels so great. You know, when you just box up this stuff and you take it to UPS and you ship it off and you don't really know what's going to happen. And they send you these photos of your product in the goodie bag and they say, guess what? Actually, they said we raised $545,000 and counting.
Wow.
So I'm continuing to partner with them because next month, April, is Parkinson's Awareness Month. And so I created a limited edition of the Sipify. The Sipify comes with a carrying pouch. And I have a new version that has the Team Fox logo on one side. So it says Sipify on one side, on the other side, it has the Michael J. Fox Foundation logo on it. And so for the month of April only, if you purchase that special edition, I am donating a portion of those proceeds to the Michael J. Fox Foundation. So wow. I'm hoping to continue working with them. They really are fabulous.
Well, that's fantastic. We love supporting people who support other people as well here at the podcast. So, I mean, obviously, listeners, you have to act now. Let's do it. This is a great month to be, you know, buying those presents, buying those tokens for our patients, for our loved ones. So make sure you guys head over to the website and order those. So if someone, I know you have a promo coming on right now with our dental team, and I'm very excited, but if someone wanted to reach out and learn more information, where can they find you?
Oh, you can reach me at hello@sipify.me.
Alice, thank you so much for being on. Really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great day.
You too. Thank you so much for having me, Andrew.
A tale of two hygienists.